Hey, it's Kevin DeWitt and welcome back to the Recording in a Home Music Studio course. In this video, we're going to talk about recording samples. So, recording samples. Okay, the title is not really 100% accurate. While you can actually physically go and record your own samples, that's basically just you taking elements and recording a little snippet. All right, it's no different than every other part that I've explained in this course so far, like recording a percussion sample, anything else. It's just recording percussion, chopping it into a small section or rhythm and filing it away for future use. Obviously, you can do that. You can feel free to go through all the other videos and record your own samples. That's not exactly what I'm talking about here. I'm referring to it as recording samples just for the sake of saying recording and getting them into our song. But really, it's actually more about finding samples and placing them in your song. So I've probably assumed that you know what samples are, but basically if you don't, samples are just a pre-recorded part of an instrument or an effect, or it could even be someone speaking or anything. It's just a small little grab that's been recorded by somebody else that's free to use, and you just, copy the audio file into your song, place it in an appropriate place, and have it play with the rest of your music. Now, some people will basically make a profession of creating samples. That's what they do. They go out and record parts, or they will take existing songs and chop them up and take little sections out and create their own little samples of things like that. And obviously, if that's what interests you, feel free to do that. But we're talking about grabbing some samples, putting them in our song just to add some texture, some excitement, just finishing our song off, getting whatever we need to get our song sounding great. And as I said, it could be an actual instrument. And I've already mentioned that in several parts in this course. Like with percussion, I said you can use samples. With orchestral, I said you can use samples, right? So obviously there is that element. Now in this one here, because we've already covered those musical ones, what we'll probably dial into now is maybe trying to find some interesting effects, some interesting sounds or atmospheres or something like that. You might be trying to tell a story and you are building this story up and you need some car, say sound of a car driving past, or a sound of a horn on a car, or some footsteps, or some background talking from some people at a party or something like that. This is the sort of stuff I'm talking about, and obviously it's going to depend on your song, what suits and what you need, if you need anything, but they can be very useful to add that extra little bit of wow factor to your song. Now, your recording software may already have a full database of effects and samples and things for you to freely pull up and use at your leisure, or you may have to go online, do some Google searches for some free samples or whatever sound you're going for. So, work out what sound you want. As I said, if you want the sound of a car horn, go and Google car horn audio sample. Right, find a free one. Make sure it's free. We don't want to obviously breach anybody's copyright by stealing anybody's copyright products, etc. We want to make sure that it is actually declared free to use. If it's not, you can always obviously go and record your own if you so choose to, but you will find free ones. They're pretty easy to find and use on your songs. We're going to grab that audio file, download it, or if it's already in your software, we'll just find it in the software, and then basically we just create a audio track and we just copy that audio onto the audio track, place it in the right place on the song, copy it multiple times if you need to, have it in multiple sections, whatever it is. We're going to mix it in, and when we get to mixing, we can start panning it, adjusting it, setting our levels, etc. This is more about just getting the element in there so we get the feel. There's other things like you could do like reverse cymbals, or you could do like explosions or something like that to create a build up of an element to a next section or something like that. So, you know, you can go wild here. It's whatever you can think of, whatever creativity comes into your mind, and feel free to try lots of things. You can always remove them later, right? You're not locked into keeping them in. If you try something and it sounds a bit, that's a bit corny, or a bit, geez, don't like that, take it out. Don't worry about it. Or leave it there now if you're unsure. Give it a couple of months or whatever it is before you get to the mixing stage. Let it sit in the back of your mind, come back, fresh ears, have another listen, and then you'll go, oh yeah, I like that, or nah, that's not what I thought it was. And then remove it, you know, it's simple. All right, so let's just go across to my song now and I'll show you the process. As I said, it's pretty simple, so it should be fairly quick, but let's go and have some fun with it now and see what we come up with. All right, so we're over in Cubase again, and now we're gonna have a look at some samples. So first thing I'm gonna do is create our track. And because I'm gonna be dragging in just audio files from samples, it is gonna be an audio track. And we don't really need an input, but we've got to default it to something. I'm gonna go with stereo because it's more than likely gonna be stereo. And we want to have it's set to a sample bus, but I don't have a sample bus, so let's get out of that first. Let's have a look. I did not have a sample bus. Okay. Let's duplicate that. And we will call it SMP, just for short. Okay, now we'll create a track. And we will switch that to sample bus. And we'll just go with sample 1 for the moment. I don't know if I'm going to be adding more or not. Haven't even worked out what we're going to be doing here. As I said, we don't want an input, so I'm going to take that off. Now we need to go and have a look at some samples. So again, we can find any sort of files anywhere on the internet, on our, hard drive, whatever, or we can use what is included in the software, say like Media Bay, something like that in Cubase. Now, one thing that comes to mind first is something like reverse. Okay, let's have a listen. Okay, I don't need it so repetitive. I just want one. I really just wanted one reverse symbol. Okay, so I'm going to do it myself because I just can't find a reverse one. So I'm going to put down a normal one. Okay, and I'm just going to zoom in. Now I'm just going to find the spot that I want it, sort of. Okay, so we want it to go in there. Okay, so you're going to get a little bit of a sample of something that was not meant to be done, but we're going to do it anyway. Right, I'm going to remove this. Okay, so I'm going to add it as a mono track. Okay, so originally I was setting up as a sample track, my first one as a stereo track, but then the reverse symbol, sorry, the symbol hit that I found turned out to be mono. And what I want to get out of it, I need to come back and actually make a mono track. So I'm going to make a mono track this time, and we'll call it sample one. We're going to add it. And nope, we want to give it our color. It's going to be this green color. We're going to take the input off because we don't need the input. Yes, it did that. Okay, so in our media bay, I found a crash, and we're going to drag it to the track here. All right. So we have our track, and I'm actually going to duplicate it because I want it to be over here somewhere. And this one here, I'm actually going to, we'll go back a bit. So we'll go to like there. I'm going to select that region, and I'm going to actually bounce that selection so it's nice and long. I'm going to quickly pull up a reverb. We'll go with Roomworks. We'll make it quite long. So about that long. And then I'm going to actually render that in place with the settings to do channel settings. So it applies the reverb. Now, hopefully, if we listen to that, we'll stop Media Bay playing. I don't think that was big enough, actually. So, let's get that reverb right. It doesn't sound right. Make it bigger, maybe? Okay, that's probably a bit better. Turn the mix up a bit. All right, now let's do the render in place. All right, this is a little bit over to what more than what I was actually planning on doing, because I was hoping just to find the sample, but I couldn't find the right sample. Right, so if we sample. Okay, now I'm going to reverse it. There we go. And we're going to actually delete that one. And I'm going to move this up here. Then we'll take that solo off, get rid of this track. All right, so obviously, sorry about the stuffing around. And we're going to move that back there. Maybe that goes back there. Okay, we need to take this reverb off now because we don't need it on twice. Okay, we'll do a bit of a fade there. Let me see. So it sounds like if I do a crossfade, I don't know what that's going to do. Can I get the crossfade? I'll try it there. Yep. Okay, that works. We'll put a little bit of a fade there to make sure it's faded in. Okay, so we have a symbol crush now. Now, in theory, I could just go and bounce that again so that we get one file. Right, so this is our sample. So imagine we found this in Media Bay because that's where a bloomin' should be. Right, so we listen along. So we might want to let that, it's funny because I probably would want that to actually ring out a bit longer. Almost like when we had the reverb on, but not as much. It cuts off a bit short, unfortunately. So unfortunately, the only way to do that would have been probably to duplicate this. Okay, let's get it right. Let's do it properly. Spend the extra time. I didn't really want to do this, but let's see if we can get it. All right, let's go with that. And again, what we're going to do is we will make it longer. Go about there. We'll bounce the selection. I'm going to have so many bounces. And now we're going to render this one in place with the current settings. And it's going to copy it down. Let's just have a listen. Okay, nice. I'm liking that. So we're going to delete that one. What is that? I don't know what that is. Turn that thing off. All right, let's grab this. We're going to move it up. Now this is where we need to sort of blend a little bit here. We sort of want to get a hit right here if we can. So if we put it there, let's get this fade back. Not sure what that's going to do, but let's check it out. We will get rid of that. Okay, are we losing the crash? Not sure. Let's have another listen. All right, let's just see how that sounds in the actual song. So you got a fade on the start. Let's put a fade on the end. Okay. That's not bad. So we'll bounce that and let's drop our fader a bit because it's a bit loud. Now it'd be a matter of copying it around. go sort of at the start of the chorus here. Do another one there. What happened there? Okay, we accidentally cut it in half. That was not my plan at all. We'll try one here and we'll just see how that sounds. I'm not sure. Where do we even line it up? That is the question. Is it there? I don't want a bit there, but we probably will do the next chorus. And we'll just get that in place and we'll see what that does. Okay, right, so I'm going to save that, so I'm happy with that. So, obviously, if you want to create these yourself, I've just sort of given you a rough, very quick demonstration of how to create a reverse cymbal from a cymbal hit. But with any luck, in a perfect world, I would have just grabbed that from a sample. It would have already been done, and I wouldn't have done that process. But you can see there that that is an extra step, all right? You don't just have to take samples as they are. You can take samples and you can modify them and add them to your project. But what I want to do now is create another sample track. Now, we could go up here and add, but as you might have seen me do before, if we want to, I still had that reverb on. Whoops. Oh, I hope it still sounds as good without it. Let's check that just one more time because I didn't do that. Actually, it sounds better. All right, I'm relieved because it did lose a little bit of impact, but that actually sounds better without it. I forgot we had that reverb. Okay, so anyway, back to my point. We could go up here and we could go add track, but sometimes what I find easier to do is actually just duplicate it. If it's already set up the way I like it, it's got the colors, it's got everything. I do a duplicate, then I just double click in here, rename it. And obviously in our case here, then I will highlight all of these cymbal hits and delete. Right, we've now got our track ready for our next lot of samples. Now, what are we going to put in here? I talked about samples and that in this case being some weird effects, that sort of stuff, whether it's like footsteps, cars, all that sort of stuff. There's nothing really in this song that's telling me to do that. So what I'm looking for is probably something to happen in this gap for the bridge and possibly coming back out of it, maybe something going into the outro. I'm not sure. It's a pretty simple song. It's not looking for something elaborate, but I need to do something obviously to be showing you what I'm talking about, enhancing your song. And some songs you're just not going to do samples, okay? They're going to be pretty clean songs that are just basic, rock or pop or whatever down the thing, straight down the line, 4 instruments, whatever. So obviously use discretion. You don't need to add all of these elements, but I'm showing you all of them so that it can give you an idea of, do I need it? Is it worth having? And feel free to experiment. You always delete them. If you don't like what you're doing, delete it. No big deal. Okay, so we need something there, I think, anyway. We have a little bit of a hit with the drum, but and I could boost that. It's not very loud. But I think we need something else. And I'm not 100% sure what. So maybe we'll just flick through a few things. Maybe. Oh, that was so much, almost my swell that I could have used. What? How did I not notice these before? I must have had a setting on before and made them sound weird. That's really long, but I'm interested to try that actually. What I'm going to do is I'll just drag that over. What I do sometimes is what I do sometimes is I'll just actually flick through and drag a few items over and then have a play. If something intrigues me, I will do that. And I'll just keep going into F5. Sorry if there's a bit loud. All right, let's see if any of these work at all. So just move some of them out of the way. We'll start with one at a time. What I might do, I'll drop the volume down pretty low. And let's zoom in a bit. That's a bit low. Okay, I don't think that works. I couldn't even hear that. Why is that one so soft? I don't know. Almost. Okay, I'm going to go with that one actually. Yeah, you could move a little bit forward if you want. Well, no. No, it actually sounded better. All right, so we'll leave that there. I don't know if it's going to stay there, but it's not too bad. I mean, when we get to mixing, we might put effects on there, distortion, whatever else, change it, pitch it up, pitch it down. We can do plenty of things with it. Now, let's see about... I don't know, what do we really have here? It's subtle, whatever that is. Let me boost it a bit. Can't even hear it. Why is it so low? Oh, I think it's low because it's actually... Oh, they're all stereo effects. Okay, these ones are stereo effects. All right, so I'm going to change the tactics here. I'm going to add another track. We're going to go with stereo this time. That's the only problem with samples sometimes is you don't know whether you're going to be adding mono or stereo ones. So I'm just going to grab all of those. Move them down. Now let's just have a listen. Sample 2. Unsolo this one. We'll actually remove that one. Okay. Take away the input. Got our fader. Let's just drop it down. Don't want to blow our ears out. Okay, now let's drop that back down because I don't want to do something stupid. That actually works. We'll move it out of the way for a minute. We'll give the other ones a go. No, not liking that. What's this one again? It's not bad, but it's not as subtle. And this one here, I'm guessing, is really not subtle. Plus, it's really long. We'd have to do some work on this one. Yeah, I'm going to delete that one because I'm not liking that at all. Let's just zoom back in here. I want to get it right spot. I want to actually... That's a little bit early. Let's try that. Yeah, we may fade it out a little bit earlier. Again, we'll leave that decision really up to mixing. Okay, now, would it benefit from this bass drop here? I don't know if it's needed, but we're going to leave it there. Because, as I said, we can take it out in mixing if we don't like it. These two... Check the end. So you've got that one there. I wonder if this could also be put in here somewhere. Let's just zoom it a bit. I mean, in this case here, you could drag it out and... Okay, I'm going to leave that there. So what we're going to do now is just delete these other two, which were not needed. So we've got some reverse symbols and we've got some other effects. Let's just call it that. All right. And that's it. I think I'm happy with that. Let's go and grab these two and we will move them to a folder. I'm going to color code that folder and we will call it samples. Okay. So we won't play the whole song, but I'll just quickly flick through showing you the bits again, just so you can have one last little bit of a listen. All right, I think we've played enough of that because obviously it just repeats a bit, you know, a few other reverse crashes there, but you get the idea. We'll hear it all together in the end anyway. So that is the recording samples part done. So now we are ready to move on to the next recording section. Okay, so you've seen how I do the process and what I've come up with in my song. Now it's your turn. Grab the worksheet from the PDF, jot down your ideas of what you think you want in your song and where you want them, etc. And then start getting your samples and start placing them down. Mark them off as complete as you've done them, and then you can move on to the next step. If you do have any questions about this, please feel free to put them in the comments. Hopefully this video has been helpful. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.